Hey guys, it's Tyler here, and Karen asked me to do this week's lesson, so I said yes, and I'll do it. So the title of this week's lesson is Refuge, and the verses come from Psalms 36, verses 7 through 9, and it reads like this: How excellent is thy lovingness, O God! Therefore the children of men put their trust under the shadow of thy wings, and they shall be abundantly satisfied with the fatness of thy house, and thou shalt make them drink of the river of thy pleasures. For with thee is the fountain of life, and in thy light shall we see light. So, before I start talking about refuge and what God can do with refuge, we need to know what refuge actually means. In the Awana book, the definition for refuge is a place of safety, shelter, and protection. So, when I think of these verses, I think of God, like God's going to be our refuge, and He's going to be our protection for when this world, when the world comes at us. God's always there to protect us. I really liked Hunter's description of the whole armor of God last week about defending. And I feel like if we got to defend ourselves, but if the world just becomes too much for us, we can always go to God. And if you're just really down and out at your lowest point, then I feel like God will always take you back in. You just got to humble yourself so you can go back to Him. And I feel like God will take you back. In the past couple of years, I've read a couple books about refuge, and these people that just have their lowest point. Like, there's been wars that come on, and they've just lost everything in life, and they're just at their lowest point, and they have to go to the safest place possible. And so I feel like that's how it is as us as Christian people. When we get down to our lowest point in life, we just have to go to God. Like, if we're at the bottom, like, we cannot, like, we just feel like nothing. Like, God, like God just don't even need us anymore. I feel like God will always take us back if we just humble ourselves enough to go back to Him, and He'll protect us, and in the verses it actually talks about if we go back to Him, He'll give us life and more abundantly. So just remember that if you're always at your lowest point in life, you can always go back to God for refuge. He'll always take you back under His wings, in His loving arms. We're just at our lowest point. I know I've been at really low points in my life that I've just had to go back to God and just let Him take care of everything. And so that's all we feel like we really need to say and do about this lesson. But I know most people don't say prayer requests at the end of the lesson, but let's just remember our country and our world, that we can just get back to normal here soon. I mean, I've loved that we've been able to go back to services, but I just can't wait until we can fellowship with everybody and all that jazz. So let's just remember that, and that's all we need to say and do. Bye.